Hello, Virgo. Uh, I'm Anna here from your channel, Virgo. Okay, if you found this message today, it was not by accident. The universe has been trying to reach you with something specific, something that could not wait any longer, something that is so close to your life right now that the hours between this moment and its arrival can be counted. I am so glad you are here. Welcome, Virgo, and please read every single word of this because what I am about to tell you changes everything. I need you to stop. Whatever you were doing before you found this, whatever task had your attention, whatever thought was running in the background of the mind that never fully stops, because you are Virgo. And your mind never fully stops. I know that. But right now, I need it to stop and be here fully for what I am about to say. Something is about to happen. Not tomorrow, not this week, not in the vague and drifting soon. That means nothing. And everything simultaneously, depending on how generously you interpret it, in the next few hours, that is the window. That is how close this is. And I want you to feel that closeness in the particular physical way. That real closeness feels when something is not theoretical anymore, but imminent, but arriving, but so close that the energy of it is already present in the air around you. If you are paying the right kind of attention, let me build the picture for you slowly because the suspense is real and suspense deserves to be felt rather than rushed past. On the way to the reveal, the suspense is part of the message, and I need you to sit in it with me. Before we arrive at the full picture of what is about to enter your life, there has been a tension in your energy for some time now, a specific kind of tension that is different from stress or anxiety or the ordinary friction of someone navigating a demanding life. With Virgo precision and Virgo standards, this is the tension of something that has been building without fully releasing for long enough, that the building itself has become the dominant feature of how the days feel to move through, as if everything is waiting on the edge of something. That has not yet arrived, but that is so clearly about to, that the waiting has a different quality than ordinary waiting. It has the quality of imminence, of something pressing toward the surface from underneath and nearly ready to break through. You have felt that. The pressing, the not quite yet, the particular alertness of someone who knows something is coming without knowing exactly what or when or in what form. The form is becoming clear, and the when is now. In the next few hours, let me tell you about love first, because love is the part that Virgo is most likely to push past quickly on the way to the practical and the concrete. and I want to make sure it receives its full attention. Before we move to ambition and what that is producing, because they are connected, the love and the ambition in this specific reading, in a way, I want to explain there is a person who has been holding something about you in the very specific interior way of someone who is not yet ready to say what they are holding, but who is arriving with gathering speed at the moment when not saying it is no longer the viable option. It was in the previous hours and days and weeks. Something shifted in them recently, in the last period of whatever has been between you. That moved them from the position of holding to the position of almost saying, to the position of the decision has been made, and what remains is only the execution of the decision in the form of making contact with you in the next few hours in a way that says what they have been holding without the protection of the not saying that was keeping it safe from exposure until now. I want to describe the specific quality of what they are holding because I think you deserve to know the full weight of it before it arrives in whatever form the next few hours. Deliver it to you. They feel something about you that they have not fully allowed themselves to acknowledge in the explicit form that would require doing something with it, rather than simply holding it in the private and unexpressed form that is safer to maintain than the exposed form of actually saying what is true. What is true in them about you is that you are not a person they can simply organize away into the category of someone interesting or someone they enjoyed knowing or someone who occupied a pleasant but finite chapter of the story they are telling with their life. You resist that organization. You keep surfacing in moments when you should have receded. You keep producing feelings that were not scheduled or appropriate to the stage of things or welcome in the particular way. That unscheduled and inappropriate feelings are usually not welcome by someone who is trying to maintain a managed interior landscape. You disrupted the management simply by being who you are. And they are finally choosing to let the disruption be visible to you. Oh, now the ambition, because Virgo needs to hear this, in equal measure to the love, and I am going to deliver it with the full weight it deserves. Something in your professional or creative or material life is about to move in the next few hours, not in the metaphorical way of energy aligning and possibilities forming and doors beginning to crack open in the inch by inch way. That feels like progress, but is really only the preliminary to actual movement in the actual and decisive way of something that was building toward a result, producing the result in the real and tangible form that results take when they finally arrive, after the period of building has been long enough to produce something substantial rather than preliminary. I want to describe what this looks like in the specific form it is going to take in your situation, because Virgo needs the specific, not just the general shape of something good arriving in the material or professional dimension, but the specific enough description that allows recognition. When the thing arrives, as the thing this reading was describing, something you have been working toward or waiting to hear about or hoping to receive confirmation of in the material dimension is going to produce that confirmation in the next few hours in the form of a yes or an opening or a step forward. That was not possible yesterday, but that is possible now because something changed on the other side of whatever has been between you and this thing. That makes the step possible now in a way it was not before. The thing you have been working toward knows what you have invested in it in the particular way that the energy of sustained and genuine effort is always known by what receives it. Even when the acknowledgement takes longer to arrive than the investment was made. The acknowledgement is arriving now. In the next few hours, carry that with you. Now, the suspense, the part I promised, and the part that is most important for how you move through the hours between now and the arrival of everything I have described. What you do not yet know is the order of things, which arrives first, the love that has been held and is now releasing toward you in the form of someone stepping forward with what they have been carrying, or the material confirmation, the professional or creative or financial movement that the ambition has been building toward, and that is arriving in the next few hours. In its real and tangible form, I am not going to tell you which comes first. Not because I do not know, but because the not knowing is the most useful thing I can give you right now, because the not knowing keeps you present in a way that the knowing would not. But I want to give you something else instead of the order, something more valuable than knowing which arrives first. I want to tell you what the moment of each arrival is going to feel like from the inside of your experience, so that when it happens, you recognize it immediately as what this message was pointing toward, rather than letting the moment pass. Before you understand what just occurred, the love arrival is going to feel like a sudden stillness, a very specific kind of stillness that is different from calm or peace or the ordinary settling of things. It is the stillness of something that was in motion for a very long time, arriving at the place it was always moving toward, and stopping there in the full and final form of something that has found its destination. You will feel that stillness before you fully understand what produced it, and the feeling will arrive. In the first moment of contact, or the first reading of the message, or the first hearing of the words that contain what has been held and is now being said before the analytical mind has had time to process what was just received. That first stillness is the truth of the moment. Trust it. The ambition arrival is going to feel like a release of pressure, a specific pressure that has been building in proportion to the investment that has gone into what is now producing its result. The particular held breath feeling of someone who has been waiting for the thing they have worked for to prove itself worth working for. Finally exhaling. When the proof arrives, you will recognize the release in your body. Before you recognize it in your mind, a specific loosening of something that has been held tight for the duration of the waiting, and that finally, in the moment of the arrival of the result, can be let go because what was being waited for has arrived and the waiting is complete. Both of these signals, the stillness and the release, are what you are watching for in the next few hours, not for the specific events that produce them, but for the signals themselves, which will tell you more accurately than any external marker that what was described has arrived. If you knew the order, you would organize your attention accordingly. You would watch for the first thing and wait for it to arrive before shifting your attention to the second, in the very Virgo way of someone who likes to process things sequentially rather than simultaneously, because sequential is more manageable and more precise and produces less confusion than having to hold two significant things at once in the same field of attention. But managing is not what the next few hours require. Presence is full and unmanaged presence in everything that is arriving, whether it comes sequentially or simultaneously or in an order that the Virgo mind would not have predicted based on what it understands about the situation and the people involved and the likely sequence of events. Be in all of it as it actually arrives rather than as you predicted it would arrive. Because what arrives is going to be, in some ways, different from the prediction. And the difference is not a problem. It is the specific form that the universe takes when it delivers something that you were not quite imagining in exactly the form it arrives. Even when you were hoping for something very much like it. I want to tell you something now about the connection between the love and the ambition. Because I said they were connected, and I want to explain how. Because I think understanding the connection changes how you receive both of them. When they arrive in the next few hours, the love that is arriving, the person who is stepping forward with what they have been holding, is arriving in this specific moment and not earlier, partly because of what has been happening in your ambition, in your professional or creative work, that has been building toward the result that is also arriving in the next few hours. What you have been building in the ambitious dimension of your life has made you more visible to the person who is now stepping forward, not because they were not interested before, but because what you have been building has confirmed something for them about who you are and what you are capable of, that they were already feeling, but that the confirmation of the ambition has made undeniable, even to the part of them that was managing the distance and the holding rather than moving toward you. Your ambition called them forward, as well as producing its own result. Simultaneously, in the next few hours, this is the connection. Virgo, I want to say something to you that I want you to hear in the most direct and personal form. That a message like this can be direct and personal. You have been working very hard for a very long time in both dimensions. The loving dimension, where you have been showing up with the full force of who you are for the people who matter to you, even when that showing up was not always met with equivalent showing up from the other side. And the ambitious dimension, where you have been doing the work at the standard you set for yourself, which is higher than what anyone around you required or expected, but that you maintained anyway, because the standard is yours, and you do not know how to lower it, simply because the circumstances around it were not always matching the investment you were making. Both of those things, the loving and the ambitious, the consistent showing up and the consistent working to standard, are producing returns now in the next few hours from both directions simultaneously. That is not a coincidence. It is the natural consequence of someone who shows up fully in everything they touch, eventually receiving the full version of what that showing up was always building toward. The suspense is almost over, not because I am going to tell you what happens first, but because the hours between now and the arrivals are fewer than they were. When you started reading this, and in those fewer hours, I want you to do one thing, and only one thing, that will make the receiving of everything that is coming as complete as it is capable of being. Be in your life fully in the specific moments as they arrive, not in the anticipation of what is coming, not in the reviewing of what I have described, not in the analysis of which arrival will confirm that this reading was accurate in your life as it is right now, until what is coming arrives into it and finds you there, present and open and ready in the way that only full presence provides. The love is almost here. The result of the ambition is almost here. Both of them, for you, Virgo, in the next few hours. Prepare yourself, not by bracing, not by managing, not by the careful organization of how you are going to receive two significant things in the most efficient and controlled way that produces the least disruption to the functioning of the rest of your life, by opening completely to both without ranking them or sequencing them or containing them in the way that containing good things reduces the full impact of their arrival into something more manageable and therefore smaller than what was actually given. Let both arrive fully in whatever order they choose and in whatever form they take when they arrive, which may be slightly different from what the reading described in the specifics, but not in the substance or the significance or the particular quality of something arriving exactly when it was supposed to arrive after everything that was required to produce it has been given. The few hours are beginning, Virgo, and you are ready in the only way that matters, which is the way of someone who has done the work and shown up in the love and built something in the ambition and is now in the particular and rare position of receiving from both directions simultaneously in the same window of hours. This is what that looks like when a season of consistent effort finally produces what it was always building toward. This, in the next few hours, is yours